we'll be doing the live resume reviews, and then we'll have some bonus resume tips, and then we'll have a section where we can do some Q&A. So any remaining questions at the end can be answered. Okay. I'm gonna just share my screen here.
Are you able to see my screen or no?
Oh, sorry, I was gonna share the tool.
Oh, okay, I'll stop sharing.
No,
Sorry.
no, it's okay. We can start with this. Yes, so just some best practices for resume writing before we get going. It's really important to limit personal information. So in your header section at the top, you only need to include essential contact information like your name, your phone number, your email address, and maybe your LinkedIn profile link. You don't need to provide your full address. So you can just put, for example, London, Ontario. Number 2, we recommend that you focus on accomplishments instead of tasks. So this would mean to highlight specific achievements and quantifiable results from previous work experiences or educational experiences. So instead of listing something vague like manage social media accounts, you would want to list the type of accounts that you managed and what you accomplished by doing that. So maybe you developed targeted marketing campaigns, maybe something like there was an increased engagement on Instagram. And if you add a number to that, that's helpful as well. So maybe you increased engagement by 30% through this marketing campaign. And that is a lot more powerful of a statement than saying manage social media accounts, right? The third tip that we recommend is to create a tailored resume for each job posting, and also a cover letter that goes along with it. So you want to emphasize relevant skills and experiences that match the job description. One activity that I typically have my clients do is print out a job posting of interest, and then with a green highlighter, highlight everything that you currently already have accomplished. So for example, if you have the certain qualification that they're asking for, or if you already have the work experience that is listed there, maybe they're asking 3 years of experience, maybe have 2, so you can add that in there. And then with a yellow highlighter, I would recommend highlighting job duties or qualifications that you're potentially working towards. So then you can list that, and any in red, I would highlight things that you definitely don't have. And with that, you could mention it in your cover letter that you're willing to work towards it potentially. So say, for example, let's say a specific designation like the CHRP, so Certified Human Resources Professional. There's 2 exams involved. There's some work experience involved in that. So if you write in your cover letter that you are willing to work towards that, that would be beneficial to highlight. And then number 4, be concise. So we do recommend sticking to 1 to 2 pages. That's definitely enough. And once you are choosing relevant information, relevant skills, and job duties, you won't really need to have more than 2 pages. Okay, so I was ahead of myself before, but now we're going to share Devant's resume tools. Okay. Just give me a second here. All right, can everyone see my screen there? Yes, okay, perfect. So what I did here, once you're signed into your Devant profile, you should be able to click on the second tab, which says Resume Tools. And so I've gone into the resume builder here. I'll just load it up again. So we do provide a video. I'm not going to play it. I think it's about 4 minutes long. So it just provides a brief overview of how to start creating your resume. The second step is to work through all these sections. So you're going to start adding in your details. So your first name, last name, email. For the address, like we mentioned before, you can just put your city and the province. Then you're going to start to add in your profile statement. So that's something that we can once we start reviewing the resumes, we can review how to develop a profile statement. Those are sometimes a little bit tricky. You don't want to add a massive paragraph of writing there. But I find that once you finish all the resume content and then go back through it, it's easier to develop the profile statement. So you're adding in your education and you keep going along. So your education, work experience, relevant skills, interests. And then I don't recommend adding in references if that is a step in the recruitment process. So if you are invited to that stage of the recruitment process, they will ask for your references at that point. So once you have all the information inputted in, you can download your resume. It will also offer you an option to select a template that you like. Okay. We also have the resume scanner. So this is where you would upload your resume and get a score on it out of 100, and you'll also get instant feedback. I wonder, Katerina, should I pop one of the resumes into here?
Sure, yeah, you can do that.
Okay, I just want to ask first, does anyone want to volunteer to have their resume popped in the scanner for us to review, or do you want me to just pick one?
Oops,
Okay,
sorry.
Abhishek,
Yes.
yes, okay. Let me
Do we
find.
have his resume?
I do.
Perfect.
I just, I wonder if I should stop sharing my screen, because when I hit start here and try to upload a document, all of my document files are going to come up. So I might have to just briefly go off here for a second. Okay. So I am going to pop your resume in there and then I will share my screen again. Sorry about that, just client confidentiality. My apologies, it's not working for me.
If it's not working, that's okay. Maybe we can review the resumes
Okay.
together. We don't have to, yes, try
Yeah,
it.
why don't I just share my
Yeah.
screen then? I apologize. When I downloaded your resumes, it downloaded it as a lump file.
Oh.
So, okay.
And if all of the attendees have the Devant profile, they can all do that on their own. They can just
Yes.
log in and they can upload their resume and they can get the score.
Yes, and I do recommend doing that because it does divide it per section. So it will give you advice on each advice and feedback on how to improve each section of your resume. So, okay, why don't I try to share the one resume here? Okay. This is the one that I have up now. Esu, are you here with us so we can review this?
Yes, he is.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So let's start here. So I think should add a little bit more to the professional summary, but I'll have to review the resume a little bit first before giving you some advice on what you can add. In terms of the skills, it might be a little bit neater to put it in bullet points. Sometimes I do a table. So I would do a table on Microsoft Word with 3 columns. And then what you can do is you can white out the table afterwards, so it just looks like it's neatly organized.
Is it okay if I just add something?
Pardon?
Is it okay if I just add something?
Of course, please do.
I'm just like with the table, I'm not sure if the companies are using the ATS, if it's going to be ATS friendly.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so that's something that like usually they recommend not to have like tables or like a lot of lines because that might cause not rejecting the resume. The ATS might reject it. So like a lot of things are changing right now, right? But that's what I like, that's what I've learned like a few years ago.
Okay. I guess you could still organize it, I guess, in 2 columns then, in bullet points. Moving down to the work experience. You should list where the company is located. So Catalyst, adding that in would be beneficial. It is good that you have the job title in bold. And that you've included not only the month, but not only the year, but the month that you worked there as well. So that's good. That gives a more clear overview of how long you've worked there. At first glance, I would say that some of these points are a little bit lengthy. I would keep it to about 2 lines. I don't know if you agree with that, Katerina.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
2 lines should be yes enough.
Okay. And it's good that you reflected in past tense because this was a position that was completed in 2022. Okay. I might switch the education and work experience just because the education is more recent. So it would reflect what you're currently engaged in. And potentially adding a little bit more detail about the project management program would be beneficial. Are you planning on engaging in any internships through this program?
Co-op is not part of the program. That's what Edu said.
Okay. It would definitely still be valuable to reach out to the Career Center through Algoma and inquire about any internship opportunities for the summer to help enhance your resume and continue to engage not only in the academic side of project management, but the practical work experience as well would be really valuable. Okay. Katerina, what's your opinion on adding a description of the company? Because I see here in italics, she's added a description.
Some like candidates do that, some don't. Like a lot of people will say like it's nice to have like a line or two, just like so it will give the hiring manager or the recruiter an overview of what the company is about, especially if let's say you're applying in a sector that you have experience, right? But so that's totally fine. The one thing that I maybe like change is the summary. The summary should be in the top. There should be like a few lines, but talking about who you are. So I would start with like some very strong, like words like reliable, effective, resourceful, let's say project management professional with over, and I will add like, let's say like 1-2 years experience in, and you can just, like tell about a little bit about your experience. So the professional somebody should be like like a short, like a brief paragraph that tells who you are, right? It's because hiring managers and recruiters, they will spend 5 to 10 seconds on a resume, and they're all looking for keywords. So you want to present yourself in the best possible way. Your resume is your marketing tool. So you need to make sure that you add the things that they want to see. With skills, I agree with Destiny. You need to organize a little bit differently so it will look more like organized and professional. You can use bullet points, or you can, like just add them with like commas, or like you can definitely find on the Devan website, or even if you just search on Google, it will give you like examples of how to set up your skills. And yes, the first job, the bullet points are very long, lengthy. I agreed with Destiny, you maybe like shorten them to 2 lines. And there's one thing that kind of like caught my eye, and I think it's in the second, I feel, yes. So you see how it says prepared communication and marketing materials and solicited and unsolicited proposals, and then you have end. So those are kind of like, you need to make sure that you can kind of like remove that. You don't need that word. It looks like the sentence is like not finished. I think I know what you meant. Like you kind of like end and then you added your last bullet point. But it looked like when I first saw the resume, I'm like, okay, like I feel like you didn't, like complete a sentence. So those are just kind of like the small things that maybe you can change. Overall, your resume looks really good. Is just like a few things. And another thing about your education, because that's amazing that you have like so many like degrees and diplomas, but if you're applying to entry level jobs, that might be they might think that you're overqualified. So I would recommend, if you apply to any internship or to any entry level jobs, maybe keep just the first two: your graduate certificate in project management and the master degree. So if they ask you, you can always tell them, like, like the degrees that in diplomas that you have. It's not that you're hiding, but it will look a little bit different when you just have the two of them. They might think that you're overqualified, and that might be an issue of maybe why you're not getting any responses.
In terms of saving some space as well, if you want to merge these two, so if you want to put the description of the company up right beside the company name, that could save 1 line per entry here, if we're just thinking of saving space and kind of minimizing it down to two. Is it 2 pages already? Oh, it is 2 pages. Okay. Regardless, it could just be used to save some space and add some more critical details.
It would be nice if the whole letter, the second job, it's not split between 2 pages. So it's nice to have like
Yes.
everything on the second page.
Yes, I agree. This is
Yes,
what you're
this should
referring
go
to.
down. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also try to avoid, just in terms of how aesthetically pleasing it is, to either fill out the line or summarize it so that it stays on 1 line, 1 bullet point, if possible. I know we can't always do that. Okay.
But overall, like really good job. I think, yeah, you like cover a lot of things that are important to have on a resume. It's just like these are just the small things that you can work on, but definitely create a stronger professional summary. I think that's the first thing that they see on your resume. So it's nice to have like a few lines telling them who you are and the strengths and the skills that you have.
Here, just to summarize this a little bit, you could just say collaborated closely with regional and local level government partners, just to take out that long bit of wordiness there. If you want to maintain the built relationships, you could say built and maintained relationships with regional and local level government partners. it would still minimize this line a little bit and bring it up to 2 lines only.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Should we review another one?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, 1 second. I don't know if you have any of them up, but for some reason.
Let me see. Okay, I can see Regina's. Do we have, is Regina on this call? Yes, I can see her. All right. I will share my screen.
Oh, and I did figure it out for the next one, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll share my screen for Regina's so we can review Regina's resume. Okay. Okay, then you can go ahead. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
so we'll start with the header there. We can condense that just a little bit. I think you have added your full address, so you can just maintain Toronto, Ontario would be appropriate there. And I like that you've included your LinkedIn profile. So essentially, if you just remove that full top line, it will bump everything up and save a little bit of space. And then moving down to the professional summary. That's great. That's a lot of years of experience. It's good that you highlighted that there. So 20 years of financial accounting, bookkeeping, accounts payable, budgeting, and reporting experience. Okay, I do think that's a good summary so far.
I agree.
I would maybe just, in terms of the subtitles there for professional summary, skills, certifications, maybe center it and bold it as well. Katerina, I don't know what you think about that
Yes,
in
that
terms of
organization.
organization.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't need to be centered. You can play around with that, but I would definitely bold it or maybe increase the font size by 1 or
Yes.
2. Okay, so which one? All of them. So all of this subtitle, the titles that you have there that Katerina is highlighting. It'll just separate it a little bit better, even if you just even if you just bold it.
It kind of like will pop out and then they can kind of like distinguish the sections. That's why we are saying that
Yeah.
it will look a little bit better, like it, yeah, when hiring managers and recruiters look at the resume.
Okay, in terms of the skills there, so the first point you mentioned the best employee award, to me that's more of an accomplishment. So maybe we'll find somewhere else to move that. You could also mention it in the work experience, like as one of the points in the work experience, under that entry. So whatever company that was. I think the rest of the skills that you mentioned there are good and applicable. Okay, and then we go down to certifications and licenses. Katerina, what's your opinion on listing the driver's license?
I think that it's necessary. Like if the only time that I would list a driver's license if they're asking for one, it's a requirement to have a driver's license. Let's say if you're applying for like UPS driver or like bus driver, right? That is important. But like this, it's not important because a lot of people live like up north and they take the subway or the train to go to Toronto. So it's not really a big issue. I personally would like remove the driver's license because I don't believe that it's relevant. Based on what I'm seeing in the resume, this is more like a business resume, accounting, like why so like it like would not matter at all.
Yes, if they've mentioned in the job posting that you're
Exactly.
required to travel from, maybe a different office location, maybe they have multiple locations, they want you to travel, you can put that in your cover letter that you do have the license or that you're just able to make that commute. But for the purpose of this resume, I would take it out of the certification section. Okay, moving on to education. Postgraduate, I think we should list what it is. Is it a postgraduate professional certification? And then you've listed in business management. So just adding exactly what it is. I'm sure, I think it would be a certificate. Okay. A master's in business administration. Yes, postgraduate certificate. And the certificate with a capital C. Okay. Where you have listed 33 units completed, I might take that out. Is that courses that you completed towards that master's? Yes, okay. I should just unmute everybody. Just one moment here. I'm just going through and unmuting everybody just to make it easier. So if we are reviewing your resume, feel free to take your mic off and contribute that way. Okay. All right, Regina. So going back to the 33 units completed, I think that can be removed. I think you are referring to potentially courses that were completed towards the master's. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Then the Bachelor of Science. Okay. So moving down to work experience, you can also shorten the months by, instead of saying December, just DEC. And for August, AUG works.
Okay.
Okay. And then since this job is completed, I would reflect this in past tense. So performed and reviewed month end closing activities, and then going through and changing them all to make sure that they're in past tense.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Katerina, do you have anything so far on the work experience or anything we've reviewed on this one?
I would just like shorter the bullet points. I would say for every, and this is for everybody, for every job, for every experience that you're posting on your resume, I would say 5, 7 max bullet points. Nobody's going to read, like all of the like 12 or 10 bullet points that you're going to put. So like 4 to 5, it's perfect because when they skim through your resume, they can kind of like read the first things. But like up to 7, if you had like a really big role and you want to like cover most of the things that you completed that you did in that role, yes, I understand. But I would say like just limit it to 7, 5 to 7. Like here we have a lot of bullet points. So when I was like reviewing this, like I just kind of like went through the first points and then my eye immediately went to the next like job, like experience, because I can review resumes constantly every day, and that's how we do it. Like nobody's like reviewing every single bullet point. So that's why the most important things that are covered in the job description, put it as like the first bullet points. So like it will match what they're looking for. So let's say if they're looking for somebody to do like month-end closing activities, if that's on the job description, absolutely this would work really well, because if I'm like hiring for, I'm like, ooh, month-end closing activities, good, next, right? And that's kind of like a check. So that's my advice.
Okay.
Yes, so as Katerina said, recruiters will go through this pretty quickly. So what you're gonna wanna do is pick the most crucial points, the points in your resume that are gonna make the most impact. Especially ones that list your accomplishments. So anything that you currently have there that is listed as more of a responsibility or a task, if you can convert that into, something tangible. So an accomplishment that has a number attached to it, maybe a percentage, a number of employees that you trained, just making it a little bit more specific, and then also highlighting the skills that you've gained from that work experience. So again, with this one for the management accountant, just shortening the bullet points, so choosing maybe 5 that are the most relevant or combining some. And then also reflecting in past tense as well. If we move up a little bit, we can see a couple of issues with the formatting here. So it is important to make sure that everything is flush. So in terms of the lines on the right side and the left side of your resume, so the dates for the previous job experience don't line up with the dates of the one for the management one. Thank you, Katerina. So making sure that that's lined up is important. You want to make sure your resume looks as neat as possible. It is easier to read that way. And it shows attention to detail, right? So if you're submitting a resume that, has these little minor errors, maybe a couple spelling mistakes, that does, it does speak to the employer in terms of what your work ethic might be. So just fixing those before you send it out is important.
Okay.
Okay. Is that the full resume?
Yeah, I think it is. And it looks really good. Like we like we said, we like the professional summary, the
Yeah.
skills, just like change maybe a few things. And the only thing that probably you have to work on is to shorter like the experiences. Definitely like keep it to 5 bullet points. I would say the most recent experience, keep it on the first page. Education, because you're in school right now. Yes, I like that it's on the first page. And then second page should be just, like the 2 experiences. Maybe even like certification and licenses. I would like put that here at the bottom.
I
So
agree.
certifications and licenses at the bottom, that your 2 experiences. Here, then you have on the first page your most recent experience, your education, your skills, and your professional summary. And it will look really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Do you have any questions?
I'm fine. So meaning to say the certification, I will put it down.
Yes, the certification should be the last thing on the last
Okay.
page here after your experience, the work
Okay.
experience. Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Got
Perfect.
it.
Okay,
Thank
awesome.
you.
And that will save some space, and then it can have your first entry of the work experience all on the same page.
Yeah,
Oh.
true.
It'll look a little bit better. But yes, you organized it quite well. Just a couple of points there, and you have a really strong professional summary. So good job on that.
Okay.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You're
no
welcome.
worries. Destiny, do you have the next one?
I think so.
Okay. I'll stop sharing.
Oh, just a few
Mhm.
technical difficulties. Okay, I've got this one. So I forgot to make sure is if this student is here. Maybe not.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I can't find them in the.
No.
No.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try another one. Is Moali here?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Okay, what's another one that I have? Regina Esu? And we reviewed that one already.
Yes, we reviewed Regina and Asu.
Um,
And we have one more that says Romar. Do we have Romar? Okay, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Yeah, okay. There's one question that maybe we can answer. It says, what's your advice on listing quantifiable accomplishment, especially if it was my first job after graduation? There's not necessarily an extraordinary impact I did because it's an entry-level job.
Would you mind, I know you submitted this anonymously, if we had a little bit more detail? It'd be helpful. Like where you worked and what the job was, and then we can help you.
And I just have to say, even though it's an entry-level job, you're still doing like some things on that job. And I'm assuming there's like a lot of customer service, you know, like maybe like some of those like transferable skills that you can use. Even if you're like an office admin, if you have created, let's say, a system that really sorted out the mail and like it was an efficient way of now getting the mail and distributing it, I would like put that on the resume. I understand that some people think, oh, it's an entry-level job, like nobody's gonna care, but like people do care, like recruiters do care. They want to see, you know, like the things that you did. They want to see how like involved you were in this job and how, you know, like engaged you were. So like don't underestimate that because it's just an entry-level job.
Definitely. I think any internships or, co-ops that you do throughout school are really going to enhance your resume. And then not only that, but if it's directly applicable to your field, you are showing that you can take the information that you've learned in the class and then apply it in a practical setting, right?
Yes, true.
Because it's one thing to learn all the information in class and sit there, and it's another thing to get into the job and actually apply it. Sometimes it's a completely different experience. I know I've definitely had that experience.
Yes, no, for sure. Like
Yeah.
even for me, when I finished school and I started my first HR job, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so different. And
Mhm.
yes, there are times where you will use those skills that you learn in school, but most of the time it's like just the experience and trying to problem solve, you know, like, and it's just, yeah, the job experience is like very, very important. Okay, I would say like we can open the floor for any questions. You can ask us any questions that you might have about like the job, your job search, your like resume, cover letter. Um, okay, we have one question that says, for the format of the Word document, what are the specifications? What is the correct order of the sections for the resume? So my formula for creating your resume is on the top, you add your information. And like Destiny said, you just put your first name, last name, your phone number, LinkedIn profile, email, and just the city where you're located. That's it. Then I love like a short summary. It's really nice. It's kind of like gives you an kind of like an overview of your skills and experience. Then I would go like with professional highlights, some of the accomplishments. Is there something that you have accomplished that is like really, that highlights like some of the jobs that you did? I would put that. And then I would add skill section. If you can think of like any accomplishments that you can quantify, that's fine. You don't have that section, just add a skill section. And then you should add your most recent experience. So that should be your first page. Second page should be like, you know, like other work experiences. And then at the bottom, you will add education and any certifications, volunteer experience, or licenses. If you are currently in school and you will be graduating this year or next year, education should be on first page after, right below skills. So you should be able on the first page to fit your summary, professional summary, your skills, your education, and the most recent job experience. So that's kind of like my resume formula. doesn't necessarily mean that it's like the best formula of everybody use it. If you do something different, it's not wrong, but it's like a really good order. And then the recruiters and hiring managers can kind of like see most of the things that they're looking for. So it's like very organized and they can find all of the things that they're searching for. Destiny, do you have anything to add?
No, that's typically how I organize it too. I mean, they could sometimes have different titles for the sections. So, some people might do professional summary or professional profile. Then work experience or is interchangeable for work history or professional work experience. But yeah, it's pretty much all the same thing. And then I would do education, skills, potentially achievements or awards, especially if you're still, if you're currently engaged in academic program. And then certifications, licenses, any professional memberships or affiliations. So if you have a designation, you can have that in a separate category, or you can just have it under your certifications or licenses as well.
Perfect. Any other questions? We have 13 minutes left. Can be about anything, like
Yeah, feel free to
search,
unmute
yes.
yourselves. It doesn't have to be about resumes. It could just be about your job search in general.
Networking, I know that is like a huge topic nowadays.
Yes, definitely. That's really important. Do all of you have a LinkedIn profile started? Because that is on the Devant tool as well to help get you your profile started.
Yeah, that's true. Like LinkedIn profile also should match your resume. So let's say if on your like resume you have 4 job experiences, make sure that you have the same thing on LinkedIn. So I know sometimes it's like hard not to include all of the experiences on your resume and LinkedIn, but like make sure that like they match, right? So I would say that is important, and always have a cover letter prepared. Not every job, like a company will ask for a cover letter, but have one prepared. So in case they're asked for a cover letter, you will have that ready. You can just like tweak it just to add like some skills and experience that like matches the job posting, and then you can submit it. You're not going to actually like have to spend like another hour or 2 hours like building that cover letter. So have one prepared where you can maybe change like some keywords.
Does anyone else have any specific questions about their current job search? Is anyone applying for summer internships or a summer job?
You can use the chat window. You can unmute yourself. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and yep,
Hi.
absolutely.
So I just had one question. Could you like discuss few points regarding if a student is applying for an internship or something like that? Like, what is the amount of details uh, the person should be sharing with the recruiter from the internship or say co-op point of view? If the candidate has a relevant experience, like say in my case, I have 7 years work ex, but for a part time, I can't display the entire 7 years work ex, right? So, what is the amount of say information I should be putting on down on the paper?
Sorry, why you cannot say that you have 7 years of experience for part-time?
So now let's say I end up applying for supply internship in supply chain, and I again end up applying for a Tim Hortons job. So those two would be like the amount of information I would be sharing with both the companies would be different, right? I
That's
can't share.
correct.
So in that terms, I'm asking.
So you know how we always say like tweak, like your resume according to the job description. So let's say if you're applying in Tim Hortons, I would, when you add your work experience, I only would focus on customer service problem solving. You know what I mean? Like all of the skills, like attention to detail, because you need to make sure that you're putting the order in the system correctly, right? Like data entry, maybe. So those are
Mhm.
like some of the skills that I would mention. Let's say you're like an engineer. You're not going to talk about like the things that you did as an engineer, like all of those, like, you know, like hard skills that you have. So like you have to make sure that you're just like adding things that you feel it's going to help you get the job. So just like focus on those like transferable skills that we are talking about. So what do you need? Like what kind of skills do you need if you work at Tim Hortons, right? You need customer service skills. That's like the number one, the most important thing.
Right.
You will need like problem solving skills, because people will come and they will complain, right? Like, oh, you didn't put sugar in my coffee. It's too cold, hot or cold. So people do that. So like you will have to deal with that, you know. Communication skills, that's another thing. Like you should be able to communicate with them and ask them questions. So like those are the things that you add on your resume if you apply at Tim Hortons, right? Because they will look for that. But if you apply like to like another job, let's say like an engineering job or like an accounting job, like yes, those skills are important, but you should focus also on like other stuff. Like if you have experience, let's say in accounting, you need to make sure that you add that. Do you show them that, oh, I did this? Like I was managing accounts payable, so I was responsible for accounts receivables. So just like list. So it's very easy. Like read the job description, see what they're looking for. I really loved what Destiny said about her like method of like highlighting stuff with like blue, red, and yellow. Sorry, like green, red, and yellow. And then do that. Like the skills that you have and they're listed in the job descriptions are the things that you put on your resume and you talk during an interview.
Okay. And
Okay.
right. And second question is, do companies have pay stress on the ATS score when they are selecting candidates for specifically 3-month, 4-month internships or co-ops, like in proper field sales, field jobs? I'm asking.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have consider ATS scores as well
So
from internship point of view? Let's say I'm applying to a company in Procter and Gamble for a September to January internship. So will Procter and Gamble look after the ATS score as well, or they would just they have different criteria for selecting students applying for co-ops or internships?
So we don't know that because every company like does it
That's
differently, right?
different.
Yes, they might use the ATS, they might not use the ATS. Really depends. Like every company has like a different recruitment strategy and different like, you know, like recruitment policies. So I'm not 100% sure. They might use it, and then you want to make sure that it's like your resume is ATS friendly, right? So always assume that you're using an ATS. So always like tailor your resume according to the job description.
And what is a bare minimum ATS score that you would suggest?
To be honest, I don't know. Like everybody sets their scores and they add keywords like
Still, like 85, 90, like still there must be a like industry standard, right? An average industry standard.
I don't know. There is an industry standard. Like Destiny, do you know if there's like industry standard about ATS? I feel like everybody's struggling with the ATS.
Yeah. I feel like our industry changes daily, so it's very
Exactly.
difficult. But yeah, definitely use the resume scanner. So that would help you out in terms of your score. But if you're wanting to tailor it for that specific internship, using the keywords, definitely always maintain your educational experience, because that alone showcases, like as you're going through your education, whether you're pursuing a degree, diploma, post-grad, you're gaining skills all throughout. So you're working on your critical thinking skills, professional communication, research skills, time management, problem solving, adaptability. All of these things are really valuable when it comes to employment. So
I also want to say that I know that all of you guys are now like applying and you're like listening all of these things about ATS, resume, but do not like fully trust like what you sometimes see on the internet, because I sometimes use job scanner. Okay. And the job scanner is pretty much a really great tool where you upload the job posting, you upload the resume that you tailor it according to the job posting, and then it tells you like the score, the ATS score. Like for my resume, it said that I score like 37. When I went and looked for the keywords that the job scan picked, they picked keywords from the company's description. So like it was a company, you know, like that was like working with like bees and beehives, and they said beehives, it's one of the words that I should have on my resume. And I'm like, how that applies to HR? Like that was like 100% wrong. So that's why like don't fully trust on like what you see on the internet. Make sure that you do your best abilities, you apply, you know, like you tailor your resume, you add the skills that you have that match the job description and send the resume. The competition is big. The possibility maybe of not getting like a call might be because somebody has a little bit more experience than you, or maybe like they have like that experience that they really need somebody, you know, like they have a skill that the recruiter is looking for. So the competition is big. It's okay if you get like a rejection email. It's okay if you're not like getting that job, right? Just make sure that you're doing the best that you can and you're tailoring the resume and just keep applying. Do not hang like to that like the ATS and think that the ATS it's an issue. I'm telling you this because I was in that boat. I was doing that and I was like always stressing. I'm like, oh my goodness, my resume never scores like high. And then I got a job. So like again, like just take it lightly. I know that somebody else wanted to ask a question. I think it was Hasti R. Do you still have a question for us?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, so I'm talking to you guys from a little bit further away. I'm going to be an international student in Ontario this fall,
Nice.
and to be
Congratulations.
honest, thank you so much. To be honest, I'm not familiar with the market in Canada at all. So
Mhm.
my question was, you know, the two CVs, the two resumes that we just saw, they're simple, they look, you know, nice and all that. And my resume looks sort of the same, but I come across lots of resumes that, you know, they put designs on them, like there's a column on the left, which includes the skills and, you know, the languages they speak and all that, and these smaller details, and then the experience and education on the right side, and some of them put a photo of themselves. So these things that I've been seeing, like they made me feel like I'm too old fashioned. Like my CV has been looking like this for since forever. What does it look like over there in Canada? Like, are there people doing it that way, or most CVs look like this, like in this order, simple and nice and organized and all that?
So let me reassure you, you are doing it the right way. I would say that, yes, we do see some resumes that have funky formatting and pictures and different blocks and designs on it. And, you know, I feel like that's appropriate if you're going into graphic design or marketing, jobs where you want to showcase your creativity, that makes sense. But for most other positions, you're going to want to list your experience and education in a format that is very easy for not only the ATS to pick up on, but for the recruiter to just parse through. That's quite important. So I would avoid, I guess we didn't ask what industry you are going into, so that could change things.
For me, it's financial data analytics.
Okay, yes, definitely go with a basic, like one of the ones that we reviewed this evening. That format would be perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
You're welcome. So we have 1 minute left. I just wanted to let you know, guys, about the resume writing service that we have at Devon. They have a promo code for $79 one-time fee, and they will like review your resume. They will create, you know, like a better one where they will add the things that are kind of like important. If you're like interested, absolutely check that on the website and you can get more information. And just about the upcoming free events that we have. So on Wednesday, we have the Devon Career Cafe. If you're available, you can join this event. It's a really great event because it's pretty much a conversation that we have with our participants, and they ask any type of questions. That's questions about resume, cover letter, job search, networking, LinkedIn, any questions that they might have. It's very interactive. It's really great. And also you will learn, you know, like a lot from other people and what they do. They always share like some tricks and, you know, like resources. So it's a really good one. Then on May 1st, we have like the Employer Insights, Career in Finance and Accounting. If you're in this field, absolutely check this out. Then we have May 8th, Decoding the Applicant Tracking System. So this is a pretty good one. If you're free, check it out. And then again, we have a Devon Career Cafe on May 15th, and then May 22nd, Immigration Q&A. I know there's like a lot of changes going on with the international students and visa and everything. So we're going to have people who are doing like, who have a lot of, we can answer a lot of your questions. So feel free to attend this event as well. So it's 8:01. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you enjoyed this session, and then you know, like the things that we shared are gonna help you can apply that, and you can get your dream job.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
You too.
Thank
You too.
you.
Thank you.